Hey, so 2024 is almost over. It is almost 8 o'clock when I'm filming this on the 31st of December. So it is almost a new year. So before I start a new year, I want to kind of go over everything that I've been doing really well this year. So, even though this year has felt like a dumpster on fire inside of a building that is also on fire, in a city that's on fire, um, and the city happens to be on a world, a planet, you might say, that is on fire. That is definitely what this year's been feeling like for me. So, hoping that 2025 is better. It's also weird thinking 2025 and it's like, I don't know, like I've been watching Batman Beyond um with my son, and I think that like that TV show is like set in the future or whatever, and it's like in the year 2020, and I'm like, "Ooh, yikes, we still don't have flying cars, still not super cool tech savvy wise when it comes to the world." So yeah, it's one of those things. But here we are. But I was gonna say, I feel like the last time I did one of these like video wrap ups, it had to be back in like August, I think. I don't know. It's been forever, so it probably wasn't in August, let's be real. But um between well, let me start off by saying I finished the year reading 124 books. And my reading goal for 2024 was to read 40 books out the year. Um, so clearly exceeded my goal. So that's nice. So in September, I read 5 books. It was my lowest reading, or my lowest reading month, I guess. I don't know, that sounds weird saying that. October, I read 12 books. November, I read 21 books. So that was my highest reading month, one could say. And then in December, I read 10 books. Um, and that broke down to 14 print books, 18 ebooks, 92 audiobooks. Yeah, your girl was listening up a storm. It helps that my job, I'm driving all over the place. Not all over the place. That's a bit of an exaggeration, but I do put about on a busy full work week. I put at least 500 miles a week, and that's just Monday through Friday, for work related things. Every single week, for the most part. On a slower week, I'm looking at maybe like 170 miles. So obviously it's been a good year for the audiobooks, I'll put it that way. If there was a way that I could have somebody chauffeur me around and I could read while they drive, I would do that. But you gotta love the convenience of an audiobook. um, of the 124 books that I read, 65 were five-star reads. And that's not to say that like all of my reads were bad or anything like that. I'm very picky when it comes to my books when I'm rating them. Like I will literally dock like a half a star if I just didn't like the fact that there was a third act breakup. And I don't even care. Like I'll just be like, oh, it was third act breakup. Gonna dock a half of a star. Like knowing when I started reading it that that was going to be the case. Like that is very much on par for the romance books. There's always a third act breakup. Interestingly enough, though, I did read 2 romance books this year. Sunny Disposition by Deanna Gray, and um, it's like The Duke Who Didn't by Courtney Milan. Those were 2 romance books that didn't have a third act breakup. So I thoroughly enjoyed that because I mean, all romance, well, I should say all. Most of the romance books that I read, they're all happily ever afters. So like even with the third act, you know that they're gonna make up at some point in like the last probably 100 pages, and then obviously they're gonna write out into the sunset, which is great. Love that for me. But sometimes the third act breakup is just like really we grown and you're gonna have a misunderstanding about this one small little detail. Like if you don't use your big girl and big boy thinking skills and problem solve or just have a conversation like, hey, when I walked into the room you were saying X, Y, and Z, were you talking about me, or were you know what I mean? Like, what was going on there? No, instead they just, I can't believe you said that. And they're like, oh, tears, crying, and both parties are acting a fool. And it's just like, skip, 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 skip. When do y'all make up? Because I'm here for that. But I digress. But I was going to say, it was a really good reading year for me. Not to say that like other years have been bad, but I mean there's just sometimes like when you're, especially when you're adulting, you just kind of get in a funk and there's like either nothing good to read, or like you feel like there's nothing good to read, or you're just not interested in anything that you've been currently reading, or something like that, or the new releases aren't really like grabbing your eye, you're not really vibing, or there's been a lot of times where I've have a favorite author and they're just not pumping those books out like I want them to. So it's definitely one of those things. For this year, I read 32 brand new authors. Well, I should say brand new. They were new to me. So some of these authors have obviously been around the block for a while. But I had never heard of them, or I've heard of them and never actually read anything of theirs. So to quickly go through the list, Cherish Reed was one of the authors. Judy I. Lin, she had a duology. It was, I have the book somewhere. It's like a mm, Steeped in Poison, I think. I feel like I'm messing up the title, but I digress. It's, if you follow me on Instagram, I've definitely talked about the book. It's like in one of my wrap ups and stuff. So, anyway, but Judy I. Lin, she has a duology. I know the second book is a Venom So Dark and Sweet, or So Sweet and Dark. It's gonna drive me crazy, but I'm gonna move. I'm gonna press forward, and that's just what we're gonna do. Molly X Chang, Angela Montoya, Amelia Howard, Mark Waddell, which is so funny. He wrote a cozy mystery and he actually teaches at MSU, and I went there. Small world. But it was really great. I really hope it becomes a series. I mean, it's a cozy mystery, so, the potential of a further series. I mean, that's not out of the realm of possibilities for cozies. I mean, that's kind of like the bread and butter, is to like keep having this amateur detective keep coming across dead bodies in some small town. So, hopefully, he comes out with a second book because I really enjoyed his series. Well, excuse me, I enjoyed the first book, and I'm anticipating that it will be a series. Frank Anthony Polito, he is actually an author from Detroit. I can't even remember how I found his a renovated. The first book is Renovated to Death, but it's a domestic partners mystery series. I believe that's the name of the series. Um, it's 3 books, and I loved it. It was funny. It had LGBTQIA plus rep, so I really loved that. Um, and I don't think the sales from the third book did as well as they would, or as he would hope. So I don't know if we're gonna get a fourth book. I know I've been following him on Instagram, and he said like, "Oh yeah, I've got it written, so hopefully I can get it published." So I'm really hoping that goes his way, obviously, because I really enjoy the series. So I mean, even if he goes through like an indie publisher, if he self publishes it, by all means, I definitely buy it. Um, excuse me, Jessica Para, um, Goldie Moldavsky, I don't know, Priyanka Taslim, Nisha Sharma, Justine Huang. Oh my God, his book, Justinian. You need to come out with another one, and then like make sure I'm the first person you call because I want to be the first person to read it because I didn't know what I was expecting when I picked up the book. Like I read the obviously the inset. I'm like, oh okay, this sounds good. Fantasy novel, love that. Let's get into it. When I tell you I was on the edge of my seat, like I was, I wasn't trying to go to work. I wasn't trying to parent. I wasn't trying to do my wife stuff. I just wanted to continue reading that book. Well, technically, I listened to it on audiobook, but still, it's got a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous cover in the print edition. So I definitely think I'll probably buy it in print. But I loved it. It was, oh my God, I loved it. L.M. Juniper, which is another author that was new to me. It was like a zombie apocalypse type of book. Never have read one of those. Don't really care for that like type of movie style. Like everybody was obsessed with Walking Dead and I did not care. I mean, I've seen I Am Legend. I don't think I've ever seen it start to finish, but that's neither here nor there. I saw World War Z, and I mean, I was like, oh, okay, cool. I mean, like I enjoyed it, the reading it or not, excuse me, watching the movies. Um, but if they were to come on again, I wouldn't tune in. It was like, oh, I saw it once, don't need to see it again. But give me a dystopian where we're overthrowing the government. I'm gonna watch it all day long. Give me Fast and the Furious. I don't care what you guys say about that series. That is my favorite movie franchise. I love it except Tokyo Drift. I pretend that one doesn't exist. But Fast and the Furious is that's my baby right there. So, but anyway, Jana Rawlings. Um, I read an Escape Goat. It was so cute. I absolutely loved it. I actually I've seen her. Well, it's kind of weird saying I've seen her talk because it's not like I went to like a book con or anything. But I'm a part of the Cozy Mystery Book Club, and Angela, the host of the Cozy Mystery Book Club, she had Jenna on there as a guest. And she talked about the book, and I just it was really cute. So I'm really happy that I got a chance to read that book. So yay! Etta Easton, Lily Vale, um, Don't Come For Me, but I have never read an Ellie Alexander book. And like every cozy mystery girly on YouTube loves her. So I was like, I'll check it out. So I think it was like Dinner and a Movie or not I can't think of the series name. Well, let me see if I can find it real quick. But anyway, I finally read one of or a series, so it was 3 books, that particular series, and I mean, hey, it was good. I mean, I liked it. Let me see, Ellie Alexander. It's I was gonna say she has a ton of books. Because I really wanted to see, or not see, I wanted to read the Bake Shop mystery series. Because I know Courtney at Cortagonist, she like loves that series, if I'm not mistaken. I know that Spencer loves that series. And I want to say Samantha also loves that series. So like I just need to actually like buckle down and like read it or listen to it, the audiobooks, like whatever the case may be. But clearly I need to do it. But yes, okay, so the Ellie Alexander series that I read was a secret bookcase mystery. So it was 3 books. And I mean, I really enjoyed it. I 5-starred each book. So I really liked it. So I'm hoping that the Bake Shop Mystery series, it's like 500 books, I think. Like, not really. I think it's like 20 though. Hopefully that's a good series. And I know she has another one where it's like Sloane Krause or something. And that main character, like, I think she runs like a brewery or something like that. So, hopefully this upcoming year I can read those series and just kind of see if Ellie Alexander might be like one of my fave cozy people or something. So we'll see. I also read Simone Sultani. Oh my god, her Cross the Line book. I'm so in love with Dev. He is now a book boyfriend. I'm so in love with him. I love him. But anyway, I digress. She's coming out with a second book for that series, so I'm really excited to read that. Um, Courtney at Courtagonist, she actually published her book that she's been writing. I don't know how long she's been writing, but I've been, I think, following her on YouTube for about a year now. And she's been talking about her book occasionally. She published it, so yay, round of applause. I read it. Death on Deck. It was so funny. I absolutely love it. You can tell it was written by someone who knows their cozies, who loves their cozies, and also somebody who can actually write. Because I mean, hey, some people are authors, but they can't write. But Courtney is definitely one of those people who can write. The book was very entertaining. I absolutely loved it. I listened to the audio, so my Hoopla, or excuse me, my library had it through Hoopla. So I listened to it. It was really good. I really liked it. Um, Also, I read Gretchen Rue. She's a cozy mystery author. Kalila Williams, Tangleroo. Oh my god, that everybody should read that book, Tangleroo. I loved it. It was just I just randomly saw it on Libro FM, and I just was like, oh, that cover's really cute. And I read the synopsis, and I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Like, I'll just buy it. Like, worst case scenario, I don't like the book and I just have a book that I don't like. No big deal. I loved it. I cried. Oh god, that book was really powerful. So I think you guys should read it. If you haven't, you should read it. Joelle Wellington, A Vicious Games, or Their Vicious Games. That's the name of the title. Their Vicious Games. Never read this author before. When I tell you she had me in her clutches, her claws, I was like, this is like great, like horror, thriller, suspense type YA novel, and I loved it. So I'm excited to read more of her work. Speaking of like more of that horror, suspense, thriller, Jamada Emil. Whew, baby, his books. I'm like, oh my goodness, like they're so good. Like edge of your seat, like is this really happening? It was good. It was suspenseful. I really liked it. Um, L.S. Stratton, that was another author that I had never heard of. Absolutely loved the horror suspense vibes. It wasn't YA. It was more of like a, I don't want to say, I don't like that term new age adult, or like, I don't know. It's weird. Like she was a grown woman, but she wasn't like, oh, like let me tell you a story about like someone's granny. You know what I mean? It was just like, I want to say the main character was like late 20s, early 30s, so like my age. So I don't feel like I'm old, but I don't feel like I'm some like little young kid. So I don't know, but it was like right around that like age range for the main character, and I mean, I really, really enjoyed it. So I was like, okay, like I I listened to it on audio, and I went out and bought the book like the next day, and I was like, this is what I want to do with my money. Like I'll be damned. Anything else? Um, but Hafsa Faisal, I have been following her on Instagram for a while. I read the Sands of Auraria. I think I said that right. I read that duology, and then also the Tempest of Tea, the first book in that duology. So the Steeped in Death, I think. Oh my goodness, all the titles are starting to blur together. It's been a long, long few weeks. this holiday season has been dragging, so I apologize. This is not a rehearsed video, and I'm pretty sure once I finish this video, I'm just gonna upload it because I just I'm just that type of person. Because if I go through and I start editing this, I'm going to be so nitpicky, and then I'll never ever publish it. So it is what it is. But anyway, Hafsa Faisal, um, she the way she writes, the way there's world building, it's just, oh god, I love it. I love it. Like, it is. I don't know. I mean, I know not everybody, I guess, in processes information like this. For me, like, if I hear something, I can create the picture in my mind, and I've heard that not everybody can do that. Which, not a problem. It's, not a knock against you. It just, that's just how we are. Everyone's different. But I like, she's so good at world building. She's so good at setting the scene. She's so good at, like, making you feel what these characters are feeling, that, like, it was like being in a, like, a 4D movie. I don't know if you guys have ever been to, like, a 4D, like, type of experience. Like, like, when you go see a movie, obviously the movie itself is 3D, but then, like, your chair at the movie theater shakes when they're, like, going over rumble strips in the movie and things like that. It felt like that. Like, I, like, just, I could feel it. I was very immersed in the world that she created. So I'm really excited, um, for her to finish, The Tempest of Teas. Like, I don't know if it's going to be like a duology or trilogy or something like that, but I know for sure there's a second book, and I do think it's just going to be a duology. But I can't wait for that book to come out. So I'm super excited about that. Katie Robert, she is a romance author. So I read one of hers. Very steamy, liked it. Um, I already mentioned Deanna Gray. I am going to end Courtney Milan because they had no, the romance novels without the third act breakup, which I liked. Lee Perry. So, the name of the series is A Skeleton in the Family. And basically, the main character has I don't want to call it a pet, but they have like an extra family member, but it's a skeleton named Sid, and it's just a talking, conscious skeleton. I don't know, it's super funny. I've never read a cozy like that. Like, I've read your paranormal ones, Talking Cats, things like that. But I've never read one where a skeleton is just animated. An animated skeleton, and, like, he just hangs out with her as if he's still alive, but he's a skeleton. I don't know. I thought it was hilarious. I read the first three books of the series, so I do need to finish it. But it was hilarious. I don't know. It was just so funny. I thought it was a unique premise, and I don't know. Sid cracks me up. I really wish that the series was written from Sid's point of view. I don't even want to say it's my only, that, like, that's the critique. I wish it was his point of view, because I really do like Sid. I think he's funny. Um so I like it. Anaya Dever, I'm gonna mess it up. But she was another YA author that I read. Really liked her item, or not her items, her book. So I'm excited to see, what else she has in her catalog. And then Juno Black. So I started a Shady Hollow mystery series. That's the series. And it's a cozy mystery. Um, and the main characters, well, actually, that's a lie, not the main character is, but the entire cast of characters are like animals. So, like, vera is Vera Vixen is the main character, and she's a fox, and she has, um a best friend who's a raven who runs a bookstore. There is a moose that runs like the coffee shop in town. It's Chitters is I think he's like a mouse or some sort, and it's I don't know. I thought it was super cute. Like again, I've never read a cozy mystery where the entire cast is animals, and it's not like they're just animals. Like like they're basically it's like reading a book about humans, but instead of them being humans, they're animals. So like they wear like clothes, obviously. They've got jobs. Like Vera is a reporter at the newspaper. So it's just kind of funny. Like because there's a character named Chitters. There's like a moose who runs a coffee shop. It just I don't know, it's cute. It kind of reminds me of like what do they call them? The calico critter toys that used to be like really popular. It's like that, but like I don't know, like it's cozy mystery, so people die every book. So I don't know, but I don't know. It's a really cute series. So I'm super excited to finish the series. It's actually so funny. I bought myself some Christmas gifts because why not? When you're an adult, you can do that. No one ever says anything about that. So um, I read the first book, Shady Hollow. I read the second book, Cold Clay, I believe. And I was like, you know what? This series is funny, it's entertaining. So I bought the entire series at Thrift Books, and yeah, so I have them now all in hardcover or not hardcover, but paperback, but in a physical form, and I'm like super excited about reading the rest of the series. So, I mean, I was gonna say it's been quite the year for sure when it comes to reading. Um, I've been super impressed with myself. I got that Kindle and I've actually been reading. Shocker. Because, obviously I listen to a lot of audiobooks. Um, so yeah, I kind of was like, is this a waste of money? Am I actually going to read the books? But you know what? I've actually been super impressed. I've been reading on my Kindle. Um, and I prefer to read on my Kindle over like reading on the Kindle app and my phone. So I guess, I mean, that kind of wraps it up for 2024 with all of the books. I think the main thing for me is going into 2025, I want to have a Storygraph reading goal of 60 books, like to read 60 books in a year, which obviously I know I'm going to be able to accomplish that. Um, but I would like to set my reading goal low, so I don't pressure myself, if that makes sense. Even though it's not like I'm trying to race anybody, but it's kind of one of those things. I've missed out on reading for a few years because just life gets in the way, um, and seasons change in people's lives. So I'm just I'm getting back to that like first love of mine, which was reading. So I think that, keeping my goal low and then being able to see at the end of the year, like, wow, I read like this year, like the goal was 40, I read 124. That's amazing. Like, I love that for me. Even if I only read 40 books, it still would have been a win for me. I mean, I could have read 20 books this year and I would have been okay with that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm working, I have two kids, I have a husband, I have my chickens. So it's definitely one of those things. Like, you know, everybody has their own reading goal. My reading goal for this year or this upcoming year is going to be 60. I want to read at least one ebook a month, one physical book a month, and then one nonfiction book a quarter. So that would come out to about four nonfiction books a year. If I read more, great. If I don't, that's not a big deal either. Um, I do want to start posting reading reaction videos like once a month. So who knows how that's gonna go? I'm trying to be better about like being on YouTube, and I mean I'm not trying to get monetized. If that happens, great, but I'm not trying to. Um, But I do want to be a little bit more active in like the booktube world. So I do think obviously one that starts with me engaging with other booktubers, and then also doing what I need to do on my channel. So it is what it is. I do want to post mini reviews for every book that I read. So like utilizing YouTube shorts to do that. And then I still want to do my monthly recaps for reading, and kind of like update you guys, all six subscribers, I think. Every month of like my reading goal progress and stuff like that. So I want to diversify my shelves for 2025. More BIPOC, more women of color, more queer authors. I want any and everything. I want my shelves to be diverse. And that's all it is at the end of the day. I want different perspectives. I want different, um, I want different perspectives. I want different voices. I want all voices to be heard. And I do think that starts with diversifying your shelves and being open to hearing stories from people that may not look like you, who may not sound like you, who may not have a career like yours. Just this world is huge. Our future needs to be inclusive. We're not Leave It to Beaver. This is not that type of life. So I want my shelves to reflect that. So definitely that. And then another goal of mine is to build a little free library. So obviously like that is going to be like a ongoing process. I do want to go like the official route and like get like a little, like if you go to the Little Free Library website, like you can get like a little, I think it's, I don't want to call it a badge, but like, you can like get like a whole kit from them. And I definitely want to do that. There's not much in the way of little free libraries here in town, where I live. I think off the top of my head, I know of two in my area. And I mean, it's one of those things. I live on a dirt road. Who's going to be coming down here? But you never know. Maybe when they stop to get eggs, they'll see, oh, they've got books. Let me grab some. And one of those things. So I kind of want to get that started, or at least start collecting books to start a little free library. But all in all, that's kind of it for my reading goals for this year. Well, this upcoming year. But yeah, I'm kind of excited to see what 2025 is going to bring in terms of my YouTube channel, my reading journey, or I shouldn't say reading journey, my reading experiences. And yeah, I'm excited. So I hope you guys have a great new year. I hope you start off your new year on the right foot. Um, I know I will be making sure that I have black eyed peas on the stove, as the ball drops, so that I can get some money. Um, I don't know if it's true, but put it this way, we've been doing it. Me and my husband, we've been making sure black eyed peas are on the stove. I want to say since we've been married, if I'm not mistaken. Well, maybe the second year we got married because my husband was deployed that first year we got married. But anyway, neither here nor there. And I'm not gonna say we're rich. We're not wealthy, but money has not been as tight as it has been in the past. So if it's for you, baby, do it. If it's not, totally fine. I know some people have different traditions, and that's great. Um, but if you do celebrate a different way, I mean, by all means, let me know because I'm interested. I want to see what other, I don't want to call them superstitious, but I do think my tradition is rooted in some type of superstition. But I kind of want to see what other things you've got going on in your lives, what traditions you have for the new year and what you're bringing in. But Until next time, I'll see you next year.